Welcome to the Onstage Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Robert. Hello, welcome to the Christopher Walken Onstage Podcast. We have a special guest here named Bello something. Okay, we're going to get into it because I know a lot of people out there don't like my impression, but that's okay. He's my favorite actor. You're going to get a treat today. And I am going to show a banner which I made for them because Valentine's Day is tomorrow. Bon, and I'll post it as soon as I introduce them. Now, Bello Duo is a singing duo consisting of Conor Taggart and Victoria McClements. And they first started singing together at weddings because they were both unique service as singing waiters. But these two are not just a novelty act at a wedding, but their voice is like destined for a brilliant career in music. And they have. So let's bring up just where they were, shown on this show called The Big Deal. And that's the one that has Boy George in it. And I'm so amazed that, that he looks so different. But here we go.
Bello Duo. Hi, we're Bello Duo.
We're from County Antrim and we're a musical theatre singing couple.
So the audition, if I'm honest, is a wee bit of a blur. Now is that, that big rush of adrenaline.
When we started to sing, what I didn't expect to happen was that everyone would start cheering for us. Then I noticed that Lyra was crying. I was like, oh my goodness.
You guys, whoa.
You need to believe completely in what you do. It's just going to get better and better.
Thank you so much. There's definitely a lot of added extra pressure tonight. Although the first edition went really well, we've set the bar.
We're up against Rhea, who is the magician. So we're excited to actually see him
I
perform.
love magic.
Tonight means everything to us, and we're bringing something very different tonight, which we're excited about, and we just hope that everyone enjoys it just as much.
Bello Duo.
Hello,
How are you guys. What's going on? Yeah, you have to move over a little bit, I think.
I know.
It's trying to make it to show your face as well. I hope it wasn't too much.
Oh no, perfect. We love it. So today's quite funny because obviously we had the podcast scheduled and we're quite excited. And then a singer has got sick today. So we are currently in a kitchen of a medieval castle because we had to drive and we're performing at a wedding tonight. So we're currently in a random castle's kitchen and anybody could walk in at any time. Hopefully they won't because they know we're doing the podcast and the bride and groom are out there eating their meal with their guests. So it could be a very entertaining podcast, just to put that out there before we begin.
Yeah. And a day before Valentine's Day too, because I know that if we had podcasts on Valentine's Day, it'd be like, you want to spend the time together, right? Exactly. How's it going, Victoria? How's it going, Connor? How was your day so far?
Our day has been good. It's always eventful with us. We always joke that there's always something. So as Connor said, it's not every day you do a podcast in some random kitchen in the middle of a castle, but here we are. So.
Oh, wow. Is there any chance, Connor, you could just move over to your right? Just because I want to keep that banner up and yeah.
Excellent. There we go. Yes,
sorry about that. I should have thought of that. But yeah, there you go. Excellent. So tell us, yeah, and also you're 5 hours ahead, so it's like 5:04, I think, there too.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background? Like Victoria, let's start with you, going back to when you first started wanting to sing, and why? And is that where you wanted to go in your life, be a singer?
Yes, definitely. Ever since I was little, I've always been singing. My family always joked that I was never quiet. You never had to put a radio on in the car because it was always me singing. And then when I was very young, I started doing musical theatre. So that was my main thing. And I went and I did Saturday morning classes at a wee drama school and all that. And I loved all the singing, the dancing, acting. And then when I left school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go to university or anything. I was really unsure about it, but I knew that I wanted to do something music related. And then I decided I would take a gap year so as I could make that decision. And in that gap year, then I met Conor.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was through meeting Conor that I ended up starting all the singing waiter work. And then it's really just taken off from there, because obviously we did the singing waiter stuff. Then we ended up becoming a couple. And through that, then Bello Duo was formed. So it's all just fell into place, I suppose.
That's good. How about you, Connor? Tell me about your
Yeah, so
backstory. What's going on with you?
quite similar to Victoria. As a child, I didn't ever really shut up, but I think it started when I was very young, and I used to whistle all the time, and it was a very annoying habit for my mum and dad. And my mom always tells the story of, we were in the supermarket, and I was about 2 or 3, and there was this like elderly man getting his shopping at the other side, and he had no teeth, and he was whistling through having no teeth, and then I was whistling back at the age of 2 or 3, and we were in sync, and all the shoppers found this really funny. So I think then the whistling kind of developed into singing, and I was really into my musical theatre, and kind of going to see, I don't know, shows that really moved me or made me laugh, or I think sitting in front of the TV and watching a film or a TV show is great because it can move you emotionally, but being in a theatre and watching it live was, I think it really took me by surprise and really broadened my interest in it. And then really before we started singing the classical and musical theatre things, my big interest at the start was Sinatra and Bublé. And I don't know if that's because Bublé had all the women after him, or if you could just really sing those really huge swing songs. But that's kind of where I started out, and then kind of we've ended up here, which is amazing.
It says that you and Victoria were spending a lot of time together during the C19. Is That's not where you met though? You met way before that. You met while you were singing waiters. But when did you think that singing during C19 was what you wanted to do?
I think the thing with that was, so I have an underlying health condition. So when COVID-19 happened, we had to make the decision to go and shield. So we actually ended up staying with my grandparents, and Conor very kindly decided to come and stay with me because we knew we had to make the decision, either we stay together or we don't see each other for I don't know how long. So we ended up staying with my grandparents, and all their neighbours knew that we sang. So then we did a thing on the Thursday night where everyone went and stood on the doorstep and clapped for all the frontline workers. And then the neighbours started being like, "Oh, he could sing us a wee song," and we were like,
No
okay.
such thing as a free dinner.
And then they kept encouraging us, so we thought, right, we'll do it this once. So we went out and stood on the doorstep and we sang the prayer, and everyone really enjoyed it. And they were like, "Oh, coming back and do it again next week." So we started doing that every week, and then we also went Facebook Live, so as people from all over the place could watch us, and we were so surprised at how much interaction we
amazing
got
responses.
and how much support. And then that kind of became the thing that almost got us through each week, where like we loved the music and it gave us something to focus on, because obviously we were used to singing at weddings and we couldn't go and do that anymore. So it was nice to kind of have that focus. And then it was from that, then we were like, maybe we could actually take this further and be a duo. And it is nice to perform together rather than by ourselves all the time.
Well, I love that, because I love how you said that you were like singing on Thursday evenings to showcase your appreciation for the healthcare staff as well. That must have been a treat for them, eh?
Yeah, I think at that time, especially, they never get enough reward for what they do. But at that time, it was crazy, and they were working so hard while the rest of us were kind of trapped inside, binging TV and not doing any exercise, eating rubbish. Whereas they were working really hard. So it was time to give back. And it was definitely a time where, those kind of elderly people, or those people who don't get out or weren't used to being trapped inside, it was nice for them to be able to go on their phone and kind of get some virtual interaction with people.
Did you get a lot of requests as well?
Yeah, we did get some requests.
And how about I love that video of yours called Falling in Love with You. Falling in love.
Oh yeah. So
That's the one video that I'm going to be showing later. But yeah, that's a beautiful one.
yeah, we released that last Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is crazy to think that was
I know.
nearly a year ago.
It's actually quite a funny one because a lot of our videos are shot by like a professional videographer, but this one, because we were in the middle of a pandemic, we couldn't really do that. And so we decided that, first of all, we attempted it twice. So the first time we actually converted my grandparents' like garden shed, and we took everything out of it and put a couple of stills in, added some fairy lights. And we're like, oh, this is quite a nice setting. We could record it in here. So we attempted that, then went to edit it, and we were like, no, it's very obvious that we're in a shed. So we decided to scrap the whole thing and go to a forest nearby. And my mum came out with the phone and she was standing there filming us. Meanwhile, we were freezing cold.
Yeah, it was
and we had the torches pointing at us to keep light in our face, and all these battery-powered candles around us. And my mum was also on crutches at the time. So there is a wee bit in the video where we look at each other and we start laughing. And the reason that we were actually laughing is because my mum nearly fell over because she tripped over a branch. She only had one crutch. So we found this absolutely hilarious. She was fine, but it was very, very funny. So we ended up keeping that bit in the video.
Do your parents, each of your parents, when you're there for Christmas, do they ask for a little show? Do you give them a little show?
When I was a kid, yes. The postman would come to the door and like, Conor, sing him a song. He's just delivered the meal. Literally, if there was any friends or family in it, would be like, yes, sing a wee song. So they had to endure that when we were much younger, but thankfully now it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Yeah, because I love your voices. Do you find yourself? Did you know that you were going to be in harmony, not only in your heart as a couple, but harmonize together in musically?
Not really. I think, to be honest,
did you have to practice it to get?
Oh yeah, very much so. And I think because I'm a tenor and Victoria's a soprano, sometimes that doesn't actually work. So the fact that those two voice types have come together so well, and what we try to do with our songs is make it different. So although sometimes we sing covers like Come What May and You Raise Me Up and Danny Boy, we want to take those songs and we want to try and come up with harmonies that maybe people haven't heard before, or arrangements that people haven't heard before. So that puts us under a bit of pressure because they're done a lot. So trying to come up with new kind of integral movements throughout it is difficult. But I think when it comes together, it blends quite nicely.
That's great. Excellent. So before we continue, I want to give a shout out to my friend Josh Bolton podcast out there. Hello, Josh. Thank you very much. And for you out there watching, please subscribe to my channel for more content and more beautiful people such as this couple, tenor and soprano. Excellent. So how did you know, Conor, that you were a tenor? Maybe you're a baritone tenor or a bass tenor? Or how did you know you were a tenor?
Yeah. So when I was I think it was about 8 or 9. No, I must have been 9 or 10. I was taken to London for my birthday as a big 10th birthday present. And my mum and dad got me tickets to go and see a musical called Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with them and it was great. Absolutely loved it. But I had heard a lot of people talking about the musical Les Mis. So I was kind of one of those kids. I was like, oh, can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Mum and dad are like, no, it's sold out. It's too much money, So we were walking past on the Sunday afternoon, and in fairness, they did have a big sign outside the Queen's Theatre saying Les Mis is sold out. But anyway, I ran up to the box office and they're like, well, after we have one seat left in the quads behind the pole. So I was like, Mom and Dad, it's a sign. So they sent me 10-year-old on his own into the theatre to see Les Mis because I really wanted to. And for a 10-year-old, Les Mis is quite heavy, I probably didn't get the full storyline, but from watching that musical, it completely changed my opinion of musical theatre and music and just made my love for it a lot stronger. And the song that just completely moved me was Bring 'Em Home. I still remember 2 or 3 people beside me crying and people standing ovation for Valjean when he sang that. And from that moment, it was, I don't really know it at age 10 because maybe the voice hadn't broken if I wasn't going to be a tenor, baritone, or bass. But from that moment, I was like, I want to be a tenor. I want to sing Bring 'Em Home someday. And that's, I think, really what pushed me in my vocal training to become a tenor.
Is there a song that one of you want to sing together, but you refuse to, or are you always like, I want to sing this song called this, and I know it's hard, but I've learned it. How about you? Have you ever have you ever turned down a challenge from your
I don't think
wonderful?
that's happened yet. There has been a few times that I've been like, "Oh, let's sing this song," and Connor's like, "Oh, I don't know it," and it takes Connor a wee while to learn songs. Or
There is some songs that just don't work.
yeah,
Like,
there's some songs that the keys don't work. This is always the big thing for us. It's trying to get a key that suits the both of us. So as it's not too high or too low or anything like that. But normally we're actually very lucky that we like the same style of music, because you normally do get the kind of couples that one's like really into like pop music and one loves classical, or it's like completely different. Whereas we're very lucky that we both enjoy the musical theatre and the classical side of things. So I suppose that does make it a lot easier when it comes to picking songs.
yeah, we're also very much like, I'm always quite cautious of putting stuff out there that isn't what we approve of, and we're quite
Yeah.
tough critics on ourselves. And I hate when we have to sing in unison. It's
Yeah.
too close together, and it's not a nice feeling. So the harmonies are so much nicer. So getting those keys are very important.
How long does it take? How long did it take you to learn Danny Boy or Ain't No Mountain High Enough? How long did it take you to sing? I know Danny Boy is pretty difficult.
Yeah, well, I can't even really remember. Like Danny Boy actually feels like so long ago, because that was the first song really that we released.
Danny Boy was surprising though, because we didn't sing. So how Danny Boy came about was after we sang on the doorstep, we did it for 8 or 9 weeks, I think,
Mhm.
and we wanted to create an album for basically all the neighbours who had kind of come out and watched us and stuff, and probably my mum would buy about 20 copies. So we went to record. We actually went busking because we had no wedding work because everything was shut down. So we went busking in December.
Mhm. Which was freezing cold.
It was so cold. But we raised enough money to go into a local recording studio called Croc, with a guy called Paul Mahon, who's fantastic. And we put down the album within like 2 days of all the songs. And then I don't know how the conversation with Danny Boy came about, but we sat with the guy in the recording studio who was he sings and he's a guitar player as well. And we talked about the idea for Danny Boy and how we wanted to make it different. I think we both knew the song being from Ireland, but just something to make it really different. And we worked with him maybe for about a week on that.
Mhm.
And that's how Danny Boy came about. But I suppose there was quite a lot of time in coming up with the arrangement of it. But then when we put the album out, Danny Boy got #1 in South Africa, of all places. Our version, which is amazing. And that definitely gave us a really good kind of kickstart.
Yeah, I've heard several renditions of Danny Boy, and you do a good job. I know one of them, Father Ray Kelly, does a good rendition, Danny Boy. We have a Canadian singer. He's gone now, but his name's Don Franks. He sang a good version. John McDermott is another one who has sung it, and but you do a fantastic version. Also, my favorite from Moulin Rouge, believe it or not, is "Come Up May." I saw you perform that, and it was amazing. Um, that song is not too hard to learn. That probably didn't take you more than a day to learn, maybe less, I think.
It took us. It didn't take us that long. We knew the song, but I don't know if you noticed or not that our harmonies aren't the same as the harmonies that you normally hear. So we actually changed it. Some of the harmonies we swapped, so as it was like almost me singing the male part, Connor singing the female part, and all that, to try and make it unique and that kind of thing. Obviously, the basis of it is all still the same, but I think
We added in a few harmonies in that song that it's the type of harmony that you maybe play on a piano and half the room will go, "Oh, that was really nice," and the other half will go, "I'm not sure." It was very close together, and we really wanted to kind of bring that vibe to it, to kind of, because Moulin Rouge is quite a dark story. Although it's, there's a lot of comedy in it and the music's amazing, but we did want to bring that dark aspect of like the tragic love to it, through those darker harmonies. And as Victoria said, learning the melody and the lyrics were fine, but putting that together took a very long time.
Yeah.
But one of our all-time favorite songs.
It's definitely one of our favorites to perform.
Well, that's good. Now, Victoria, you how do you know that you're soprano? Whatever made you get the idea that, okay, I'm a soprano? Maybe you're an alterum as a soprano. Did did you start singing? Someone came up to you and said, "Hey, you're a soprano." Because I was doing a study and research on soprano, mezzo soprano, countertenor, baritone, all of them, and there's a difference between a soprano and an alto, and it's kind of similar. But how did you come to the fact that you were a soprano?
Well, to be honest, I went through a big period where I didn't know what I was. I was singing bits of all these different styles and using different parts of my voice and stuff. So, especially in the musical theatre, I played characters where I was mainly belting. Um, and then as I grew up, then I started to try different things. And it wasn't really until I met Conor that I really was introduced to the classical stuff. So, one of the main songs that Conor would sing is Ness and Dorma. And then it was really once I started to hear him sing that, and then I explored some more of the classical stuff. And also, I'm a big Catherine Jenkins fan too. So I started listening to her stuff more. And then it was really through that that I just started working on my voice and really fell in love with the classical side of things. And I've just kind of taken it from there. And it's only now that I realize that I really am a soprano, and I feel that, like, for the first time, I'm really comfortable in my voice, whereas I'm not as confused as what I used to be.
Yeah, because when I took 5 years vocal training, my vocal coach told me that I was a baritone, that I could go low and I could go high.
Mhm.
But then when I started singing Bee Gees, it was like, okay, you're baritone, you're a tenor, and you're a falsetto as well. What do you call it? Baritones falsettos? But yeah, but I enjoy singing. I actually want to ask you about is there any, what was your life like growing up?
Yeah. So, like, do you mean at this point or when we were younger?
Like when you were young, let's say you were like 10 years old, what was your life like?
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think the only thing I can say was it was fantastic. In terms of the family and the friends that we had around. Well, for me anyway, my parents were extremely supportive. Um, to the point where I was younger and I would do those like stars in your eyes competitions at the local fun fair and all that type of thing. And they would sit down with me, and my dad would get out his guitar and teach me the melodies and make sure the lyrics learned. And I'm sure sometimes I was awful and attempting things that were crazy, but they were very supportive parents, and they dropped me to every singing lesson. I did 9 years of tap dancing, even though I have two left feet. And they were so behind me, and they're very much the parents who were follow the dream. They weren't like, go and be a doctor, go and be an accountant,
A
follow
singing
the
doctor.
dream. Yeah.
You
So
need surgery.
so that was really great, and they were always behind me, and my sister was extremely supportive as well. So it was wonderful, and I think that was actually one of the hardest things when we did the big deal. My mom and dad knew, and my sister knew, but my other family members were so supportive. Like, to put it in context, we live in the same neighborhood, like 4 doors down from my cousin who I grew up with, and her mom and dad, and then my auntie lives 5 minutes away around the corner. So we were a very close knit family, and we had to keep the big deal a secret for about 4 or 5 months.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so that was really difficult. And then finally, when it came on TV, obviously it was over the course of a few weeks. So they were like, "So what happens? Do you get through the audition?" And you can't say anything. You just have to say you have to watch. So that was very annoying, but very exciting at the same time.
And how about you, Victoria? Do you have a large family, both of you? Do you have like musical families? Like anybody else in your family musical,
Well, you
singing or?
see, this is the thing. My family always joke that they don't know where I got my singing voice from, because no one else in my family really sings. Now, my granddad, he would still be a bit musical and he would play the drums and that kind of stuff. But apparently, my great granddad was a very good singer. So unless I got it from there. But when I was younger, again, I was very lucky. I have a very supportive family too. And I was one of these children that I was out like every night of the week at a different class, whether it was a dance class, a singing lesson, doing my acting exams. So I was just being driven around the place all the time. So I'm very lucky that I had a supportive family who were willing to take me everywhere. And obviously it's paid off now, because without all those lessons, since a young age, it probably that's what's got me here. So I'm very grateful for that.
I notice that when you sing in a totally different, like American type accent, because I don't detect your accents in your singing, which is normally common from England and Ireland. I think they sing in this Americanized type of accent, except for John McDermott. I think he's sort of this thick accent. So how do you guys separate? Like, are you still working as waiters?
Yeah, so we still perform at weddings
Mhm.
as singing waiters. So obviously we don't actually wait, but like we some nights we're a singing waiter, sometimes we're a policeman, sometimes we're a pizza guy, and we walk in and obviously surprise them. So we still do that to pay the bills, and it's actually really good fun because we get to perform to audiences. And then we are doing a small theatre tour as well, which is very fun for Bello Duo. But yeah, I think you have to kind of do a little bit of everything in this industry, especially when you're starting out, as we are. So yeah, it's good fun.
Do you think of this situation that we're in for the last couple of years, and I'm not supposed to, I think, say it on YouTube, but do you think you would have been singers? Would you have met, or like,
Well, we were already singing at the weddings. That's kind of one side of our career, but I don't know if we would have had the time to sit down and explore the classical and kind of love song musical theatre genre together if we hadn't have been in lockdown. So I think it's kind of been a blessing in disguise, and because it has given us the time to work on our voices together that we probably wouldn't have done. Because obviously at weddings, yes, they get their big Nessun Dorma finale, but most of the other songs are party songs. Like That's Amore, 500 Miles, Sweet Caroline, not the kind of more intricate harmony songs that we would do.
where did you mind me asking where you came up with Bello Duo? Because I know there's Bello Voce, there's Voce Nova, there's all either Bello, Bella, or Duo or Boca. Like, where did you come up with
Yeah,
Bello Duo?
it was a nightmare, to be honest, trying to choose a name. We went through so many different ideas, and we would come up with an idea, and then we would Google it, and then it'd be, oh, someone's already got that name. And we wanted to go for something like a little bit Italian because we do a lot of classical singing, so there's a lot of Italian kind of stuff in that. Conor likes to say that he chose the name, but he didn't. It was me. He just likes to say it was him. But
For any solicitor out there.
um,
But no, I think Bello Duo. Well, we really didn't want to be Conor and Victoria because Conor and Victoria,
it
anybody,
could be anyone.
Yeah.
And I suppose we just wanted to kind of make it kind of easy to remember, short and sweet, as they say. And also, because we were getting quite a lot of attention doing the Facebook lives on the front doorstep, we wanted to start to create a brand, and kind of a name for ourselves.
Bello, yeah, Bello Duo. I think Bello means voice, I think, is it? But Bello
It means
Voce, no, Voce means
Yeah,
voice.
so
Yeah.
bellow is like beautiful or nice or
Beautiful, yeah. Okay, so beautiful duo. I agree.
well,
Beautiful duo.
each of their own.
Yeah. How do you? Let me ask you. How would you separate your musical talent from your personal life, or do you bring them all together? Like, can you
we
get up in the morning and decide that today I'm not going to sing my cat?
It's funny, everything does mush together.
Yeah, it does mush together. I think that's, we've kind of found that now. But I think because we enjoy doing what we do, it makes it easier. Like even today when we were driving down to this venue, it was like a 2-hour drive. So we spent
Wow.
the time in the car, like listening to Disney duets and singing along, and
We're
Wow.
just back, you see, we were in Orlando there about 3 or 4 days ago. We got
Yeah.
home. We went for a holiday to Disney. So
Wow.
time difference is still, I'm not really sleeping. I'm still in your
Yeah.
time, or whatever. So yeah, that's still having a big impact. But as Victoria says, a lot of we don't sing a song because it's nice to listen to. That might be 20% of the reason, but a lot of the time it's the emotive, or the storyline or the connection that we can have to a song.
What are you working on now? Are you working on Disney tune, or are you working on something totally different?
Well, we're working on a few wee Disney things because we are massive Disney fans. We've also been working on an original song. So I don't know when we're going to release that, but
That's taken an enormous amount of time.
yes,
Maybe months.
yeah,
And
but we're getting
it's
there.
like a fully orchestrated song as well, so
Mhm.
it's huge. But we're really excited to release that as the first original. And then we have a few. I think in this industry, like we've been working with an amazing guy called Darren Day, who's a pianist, and Darren is a pianist and composer, I should say, and we have ideas, and he almost takes the ideas from our descriptions and plays them, and then we would write the lyrics ourselves and things like that. So I think when writing any sort of original music, you maybe have 5 or 6 plates spinning at the same time, and you might only stick with 2 or 3 of them. But I don't know, we have some nice ideas in the.
Yeah, it's always difficult when you're writing your own song. Like you listen to loads of songs, and if you really listen to the words, you realize that they're really cringy, but no one thinks of that. You just listen to it. But you see, when you're writing it, it's almost like you write something down, and it's like, oh, jeepers, are people going to think that we're really cringy if we say that? Get rid of that, start again. Or, Connor suggests something, I suggest something. And, it's a long process, but it's also really nice to be able to start and take Bello Duo even further and, have our own original music.
Yeah, like there's some songs out there that have like bad words in there or words that you can't use, and it's
Yeah.
disappointing. You say, "Well, I'm not going to replace this word with another word and make it more general." I'm like, can't do that because the lyrics are written specifically that way. It's like taking Eminem's song and putting like clean lyrics to it. There's just no clean Eminem song out there.
Yeah.
So I refuse to sing those songs anymore. But what about songs like Mary Poppins or something? Have you ever watched Mary Poppins or any of those other ones?
Yeah,
Oliver, maybe?
yeah, we love those type of movies, and we're big fans. We went last year to London to see Frozen,
Nice.
the musical, and there's some lovely new songs written for the musical specifically that aren't in the movie. So I think we need to explore that type of music.
Yeah.
It's difficult because our target audience, some of them really like the classical stuff, and the classical slash opera music can bring in quite. I'm trying to describe this, but quite heavy fans of that particular genre. And sometimes trying to give people a little mixture can be difficult because you're not going to please everybody. So we always have to think about exactly what songs we're going to pick and just hope that people are up for like a big finale of Time to Say Goodbye or Nessun Dorma. But halfway through the show, they're also up for something a wee bit upbeat or something lighthearted like a Disney song.
Yeah, but whenever you sing, you don't usually sing solo. You're always singing together, like you're harmonizing some song. It's not like unless, let's say, you're singing that famous one from Frozen. Every My life is just, remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be where you would go first, she would go first, and then there's a harmony right in there. That would work.
Yeah, that's what we were listening to in the car today, I think.
Yeah. But a song like "Never Enough" from the Showman,
Yeah.
that's quite a good song as well.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
But where do you find yourself 5 years from now, if we can say that?
That's the question. I think aside from, pushing forward with the singing, I think this industry, you need a hell of a lot of luck. The dream is to create more albums and to be able to go to the likes of the United States and perform a tour there and, perform to as many people as we can. But it's whether what will happen, like we did the big deal and we got some really lovely exposure and comments from the big deal. But as soon as it was released, we went back into lockdown. So after the show went on TV, we got a few really amazing corporate gig offers. That definitely we would have met some well-known people and could have helped us on our journey, but then they suddenly all got cancelled because we got back into lockdown. So the hope is that they will happen again, and you just need to kind of keep knocking on the doors. Nobody knows who's going to pop up next or see a video and give you an opportunity.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. Probably in 5 years from now, you'd be able to buy 4 or 5 of your albums and a greatest hit. It's like, but like, don't give up. I mean, I guess 10, 15, 20 years from now, you'll still be wonderful couple, pumping out tunes there and that. Is there a song that's so difficult you refuse to sing? such as Nessun Dorma. I refuse to sing that one because that's my Mount Everest song. If I can sing that, I can sing anything. I mean, what's your Mount Everest song?
For me, and it's a song I've been working on for about 5 months, and I'm nowhere near ready. It's probably Caruso. Again, it's an Italian Pavarotti song, and the melody is quite easy, but the Italian words is a nightmare. It's so quick, and there's just loads of them thrown in there. So that's probably my Deborah song.
I think for me, it's not necessarily a full song, it's a specific part of a song that I really want to be able to do. And it's in Phantom of the Opera. And it's, you know, the bit where he goes, sing for me, and she does all the ahs, and then
Yeah,
she hits that
Christine
insane
Dene. Yeah,
note.
that's high.
Yeah, someday I want to be able to hit that note without like smashing a window or anything. So Conor will have the pleasure of listening to me practice.
Might need to get some earbuds
Yeah.
for that one.
You'll know you arrived when you'll be able to do that. I think is that an F5? I can't remember, E5 or something. That's the highest. Mariah Carey and a few others have that highest note where they can actually sing that Christine Dene. That's excellent. Yeah. But you know, if you keep it up, you'll be able to do that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day.
But I hear you singing the prayer.
Mhm.
That's difficult Italian song. How do you manage? You said it was difficult for you to thinking that where you're talking about your Mount Everest song, but I saw you sing the prayer. Why would that be more easier for you? That's more difficult.
I think the Italian in the prayer is slightly slower, and there's not as many words. But I think because it's a wee bit repetitive as well, and we sing it together, it definitely helps. But again, the prayer, you know, it's the type of song that every time we have a fantastic vocal coach, but every time we sing that song, the vocal coach will go, right, you know, you need to fix this bit of Italian, this bit of Italian. I'll never be Italian. You know, it's very different. And how they pronounce some of their vowels and intonation, you know, it's very difficult for an English speaker to do, but you just need to keep, I don't know,
Keep
trying.
practicing.
Yeah.
But you've done it. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to learn the Italian? Because both of you have to sing that part in Italian. You have to harmonize with that one. How did you manage to do that so you both are in sync? Because that's got a lot of trills in that one. It's got a lot of vibratos in that one.
I think Connor's had longer working on the Italian than I have because obviously he's been singing Nessun Dorma for years. It's one of his favorite songs to sing. So he's been singing that for years, and then you knew the prayer before
Kind of.
I did, and then it was actually Conor who introduced it to me. And for Connor's mum's 60th birthday party,
21st, 23rd, 30th.
there was a big surprise party for her. And Conor actually got one of the guys who does the singing waiters, who his mum wouldn't know, to come in with a fake cake that I'd made. So I'd made a polystyrene cake, but it looked really real. And then David came in, we were all saying happy birthday to his mum, and he fell in the middle of the floor with this cake. And his mum was like, oh my goodness, but then he jumped up and started to sing. So of course it was the full act. And there was a big party then, and then at the end we performed the prayer, and it was our first time ever singing it like live together, and we were so nervous, and I have to say a lot of the Italian was made up that night.
The worst thing is when, now, I would say Nessun Dorma is probably 85% correct. In terms of the Italian, all the words are there, but in terms of the intonation or how they flick their tongues in certain consonants and stuff, and I performed at a wedding, and before I went on, the manager came up and was like, so you're going on now, and by the way, the bride's parents are actually Italian. I'm like, oh no. But in fairness, they came over and they were lovely, and we're actually going to Italy in June to perform at a wedding. Somebody's booked us to fly us over, which is amazing. It's a surprise, so hopefully they're not watching. But
I'm sure lots of people get married in Italy.
True, they won't know. So it'll be really good fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to say no to one?
We've had lots of strange song requests that we've had to say no to. I think sometimes people forget that people do have different styles of voices. So where we're good at singing the classical stuff, we're maybe not so good at singing like
The rock.
yeah.
Sometimes we'll get like, Living on a Prayer. I'm like, can't really do that. Or Uptown Funk, not really us. But yeah, we normally give most things a go,
What would you do if the Queen specifically said to you, we want you to sing for us? And
Well,
we want you to, and we'd like you to, here's my favorite Bocelli song, or here's my favorite Pavarotti song, or the three tenors, Jose Carreras. I want you to sing that part of this song.
I think we'd give it
What
a
would you
good
do?
go.
It's the Queen. What would you do?
we would. Well, hopefully she would give us like a week's notice. If she'd asked us on the spot, it might end badly.
We would
because
bluff something.
We would bluff it, but we would definitely do it if it's the Queen.
No, I think with the prayer, we've put a lot of work into it. We've sat and we've focused on each of the words, and
it's the type of thing that sometimes, if we're being honest, in the prayer, if like we did a gig in December together, and it was at like one of our big local kind of junction ones, like a shopping, shopping center, and there was quite a few people, and it was really well advertised. But I had quite a sore throat. You were kind of sickening, or you had the cold. It was just so cold, and every breath that you breathed in to sing, it was freezing outside. So it really, the vocal cords need to be warm when you're singing really high. And there's a few techniques that we use during the prayer. We'll maybe give each other a wee look to say, instead of using that harmony at the end, let's swap down to a lower harmony. And sometimes we do that halfway through the song, which is pretty good. So
I think we've learned to become very much in sync. Like we can kind of almost look at each other during a performance, and Conor can just give me a look with his eyes, and I know what he means. So I think that just proves we've practiced a lot. So now we kind of know every scenario that could happen.
Yeah, that's excellent. I really, I'm just enjoying your voices, and it's just totally amazing. I believe we have, I think it's Can't Help Falling in Love video here. I think I'd like to show everyone. So I don't know, I'll just probably play a minute of it, get a general idea of people of how in sync you are. So we're going to play that, and then we'll come back, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Only fools rush in,
But I can't help falling in love with you.
shall
I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you?
like a river flows,
Surely to the sea,
darling, so it goes.
some things are meant to be.
Take my
Hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you.
That's Bello Duo, everyone. Can't Help Falling in Love. Elvis Presley song. Everyone does it, but they do an excellent job. And I love that that end sync part where you both sound like together. Like that's in sync right there. Beautiful song.
It was good fun, and I think working with Matt Milford, who was on the piano there, coming up with that arrangement, and then we had it was crazy because Matt, obviously we couldn't go out and see Matt. He lives about 2 hours from us, and then the guy on the cello was a guy called Tim Jasper, and he lives in London, I think, at that time. So it was amazing being able to virtually work with all these musicians to put that song together, but it was nice.
Is being in sync something that just happens for you, or it just you have to work on it?
I think it's a bit of both. I think we're actually quite lucky that a lot of it is quite natural, and I think that's because you have lots of people who come together to sing a duet occasionally, but because we're actually a couple and we spend so much time together, there's times that we're in the car and like out of nowhere we'll both just start to sing the same song, and it's really, really creepy. Like same place, same key, and we're like, okay, or we'll say the same thing at the same time. And I feel like because we're together all the time, we have this strange connection.
We do have this annoying thing though, where we'll start to sing a song and we'll both identically go to the same harmony, whereas one of us should remain on the melody, and then we'll have like a small disagreement over who gets to sing the harmony. But it's quite funny. It's weird watching those videos back because we make them, and there's loads of them out there, obviously, and. Like
we haven't watched that in like a year.
Yeah, we watched them once and then they're out there, and it's funny looking back thinking at any time that log we were sitting on could break on the tree. But it was.
And I actually had like super fluffy socks on as well because my feet were so cold, but you just don't see that in the video. So it's quite funny, all those wee things that you suddenly remember when you watch the videos again.
Nice memories.
Do you still get nervous singing?
Oh yes,
very much so. But I feel like you need the nerves. The nerves, they drive us, and
I don't think that'll ever go away. I think, especially with singing, like there's been times where, like for me anyway, before we started singing together, like I'll start a show and it might be a 2-hour show, and I'm like an hour and a half in and all's going really well, and then suddenly the voice just decides, no, I've had enough, or it starts to get sore. And you've got another you have another half.
Sorry about that.
And that's always the fear that could happen. So
that's my cat.
What's her name?
Yeah, that's Hannah. She loves looking out the window, looking at the birds and the squirrels. And sorry about that, but also. So you get nervous, but how about what do you do to prepare? What do you do to prepare your voice? Do you drink anything? Do you eat anything? What's your favorite thing to drink?
Well, Conor doesn't actually like this, and I used to not like it, but I've drank it so much now that I actually do. I'm obsessed with Manuka honey in warm water before I sing. And when I was younger, I would have always had it if I had a sore throat or anything and thought it was disgusting. Whereas now, over the years, I've actually come
I don't mind
really
it in tea. It's fine in tea.
Yeah, so I always have like a hot Manuka honey. We always do our vocal warm-ups.
Or if your throat's sore, we would have like honey, lemon, ginger.
Yeah.
Together in hot water, which helps. But
I'm one of these people. I know some singers are like totally the same as me and others aren't, but I can't eat anything chocolatey or anything before I sing because then I feel like I can't swallow.
I find it difficult to eat like before.
Yeah.
I could eat like 4 hours before, but like a lot of the time our performances will be at like 7 o'clock. So you're due your dinner at like 5 or 6. And we're like, no, we'll just get something at 10 after the show. Because it's, I don't know, just feel it all sitting in you when you're trying to sing. It's not fun.
Well, I know for one thing that you don't eat a pizza before you sing because that's a no. I ordered I said, what am I going to do? Am I going to be singing this song or eat a pizza and then sing? So I said, okay, I ordered a pizza. I ate it and I started singing. Oh,
not good.
Don't do that. Don't eat cheese or anything like that. Always like maybe drink lemon in water or maybe chamomile tea or something just to clear your throat, and then do the thing with your lips, and then the raspberry with your lips. And sometimes there's this vocal coach named Trisha Lane. She you put everyone does this. You put a pencil in your mouth and you sing with it, and it helps you, and it really helps you. So where do you go from here? Like, what's your day like? Actually, what are you going to do with Valentine's? Should I ask you? Tomorrow's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so well, to be honest, I don't even know what time it is, but they're currently on their meal, so we'll probably have to go in about 15, 20 minutes and start to get changed as a waiter and do some blending in before the performance, which will probably be in about 40 minutes or something. And then tomorrow, we're not being very romantic tomorrow because we went on holiday. We kind of we decided that we would have a nice holiday, but that would also count as Valentine's.
So I'll be making us a nice homemade dinner.
Yeah, we're on a strict, not a strict diet, but a healthier food diet after America because the food over there was insane, insanely unhealthy, but insanely nice.
Does he give you flowers and sing before he hands them to you? Here you go, honey.
Well, I don't know, but I'll be expecting that now.
Well, she got flowers the last 2 years, so
I did.
Did you mention a performance today? What is the performance today? Is it a full performance or just? Oh, you mean you're at a wedding today, or?
Yeah, so it'll be a singing waiter performance.
Oh wow, yeah, that's interesting. We never had those at my wedding, but I definitely would. I would like to be a singer at a wedding, but basically, you know, that's fun. I guess it's fun for you because being so young.
Yeah, very much so, and it pays the bills. So I think it's nice when you enjoy your job, and for us, very much singing at weddings is a job, and we would normally do quite a few, like 80 weddings a year, maybe, or 80 gigs, and that's what we love. So hopefully today goes well. When we were on Zoom with you earlier, they were on the live with you earlier, they were coming into the room. I don't know if you could hear, they had a bagpiper and they were all cheering and going mad.
No, but that would be interesting to hear. Pied Piper, wow.
Yeah,
that's quite common here. A lot of them would have a bagpiper come play as they all come into the room, and it's a good atmosphere.
Yeah, the best surreal time was when I was standing on the shore of a lake, and I had all these people around, and we were saying goodbye to somebody, and he started playing the bagpipes, and I was like, whoa, this is so. I love the bagpipes. I really wish I knew how to play those, but do you guys know how to play any other instrument, or is just your vocals? That's the instrument you play.
So I would be quite good at the flute. We had I did exams, so I did up to grade 8 in the flute, like the orchestral flute. And then I did piano, and you did piano as well, and a little bit of percussion. Yeah. But I think it got to a stage where you kind of had to pick one out of 4, and the voice got priority. Because
I played the violin for a while and got to about grade 5, and I was quite good. But then I had to choose between the singing and the violin, so I chose the singing, obviously. Because with being in school, I just didn't have enough time to commit to that, as well as then doing my acting and my dancing stuff too. But because I don't play the violin now, and I never did when I was with Conor, he just is convinced that I'm lying about it, and I could never play it. And I thought,
for me.
Yeah,
you played it a few months ago,
but not very well because I haven't played it in so long. But maybe someday I'll get back to that.
Wait a minute, you play I see you playing the piano, but you play the violin as well, and you stopped doing that?
Wow. Yeah, so once I was doing my GCSEs in school, my big exams, I had to kind of give it up for a while because I just didn't have the time.
You can't sing and play the violin at the same time?
I don't think so. I don't think that would work too well.
How about playing the piano and singing? How does that work for you?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
I suppose because we work with so many amazing musicians whose main instrument is the piano, then we love to work with somebody who can actually play the piano.
We just know the basics.
Who's your dream You're talking about musician. Who's your dream musician you want to sing with? Your dream duet together, single. You guys together with this dream musician. Who would it be?
For me, probably together with Andrea Bocelli or Michael Bublé.
Michael Bublé.
I think for me, It would be Andrea Bocelli or Catherine Jenkins.
Wow, and I've had so many podcasts. Nobody mentioned that their favorite musician to sing duet with would be Josh Groban. Except for me, I love to do a duet with Josh Groban. But yeah,
Josh Groban is amazing as
Yeah.
well.
yeah, Josh Groban's amazing. I saw him in concert like 2 or 3 times. He's pretty good. But yeah, that's great. And so the more time that goes on, you guys will get better and better, and you'll be able to sing more Italian songs. And what about other language like German, French? What about those?
Well, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
The Italian's hard enough as it is, but I suppose it depends if the song or the music connects with us. That's the main driver for learning things, and
Mhm.
so we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know if you recall an 80s singer by the name of Peter Schilling. He's a German singer, but he came up with a single by the name of Major Tom.
Mhm.
Well, he's did a German version of that. That took me like 15 years to learn.
Wow.
And now it's just flows off my tongue. But you got to remember, you got to always keep referring, like if you want to learn let's say an Italian lyric. I've spoken to a lot of Italians, and they say that the way that you see it written is the way it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like when you look at PR, like one of that Bocelli song Per Amore, PR and an AMORE. When you look at it, it's just Per Amore. And if you say Per Amore, you're saying it wrong, but Per Amore. But you just gotta. Italian is a little easy for me, sort of. But there's some songs like Nessun Dorma, which means so sleep. I think it's called.
Yeah.
That's
Non-negotiable.
that's my Mount Everest. That's if I could sing that, I think I could sing anything.
Well, you never know. It can happen.
So what time does your performance start? Because I don't want to keep you.
So to be honest, we'll probably have to leave quite soon because I need to get changed and look like a waiter and probably go round and make sure they're enjoying their dinner so it looks like I work here. And then the show will take place after their dinner.
So it's about, I guess where you are now, it's about 5:55, 5:57, I think.
It
Because
is
you're 5
indeed.
hours ahead of me. Yeah,
It
okay.
is.
So I want to keep, but it's been a wonderful interview, and I'm so happy that you guys were able to be interviewed by On Stage, and we appreciate that. And we so look
Thank you
forward
for
to
having us.
hearing some more music from you. And sorry if I'm not able to play all the music. There's some regulations with that with YouTube, but I'm pretty sure that I'll be posting all those links every time you come up with a song or single. I'll automatically post it, and you can check back. Everyone who's watching, please click on the subscribe button for more content and more beautiful people like Bello Duo. I really appreciate this, Victoria and Connor. Appreciate the communication. Appreciate that you were able to get in touch with me and back to me to make sure that you're here. And you were here 5 minutes early. That's awesome.
Thank you for having us. It was a lovely
Yes,
chat.
thank you
Yeah,
so much.
it was so lovely talking to you, wonderful couple. So I'm going to end the broadcast here, and everyone, let's say good.